Hi folks, let's talk today about another poster. This one was presented last year, 2025, in Spain, in an international symposium on stallion reproduction. This study explores or compares the influence of two different normal centrifugations used for cooling shipment of stallion semen dose and centrifugation as well prior semen freezing. So the big question of this study is to figure it out if you have influence of those extenders using for centrifugation on the sperm motility after thawing. Let's see the poster we're gonna talk. This is the poster. Influence of two extenders. This is the title, authors, the introduction, methodology, and all the results until the conclusion. Another thing as well, in the daily routine, eventually, you don't have all the stallions around the lab. Some stallions, eventually, they are a little bit far. And you have to, or you can, collect semen there, in their site, dilute the semen there, and bring the semen, refrigerated semen at 5 degrees, onto your lab to, after that, perform the freezing. So, does it have influence as well? We're going to explore all of these in this poster. Let's see the first part. This is the title. Influence of two extenders used for short cooled storage on the sperm motility of quarter horse, submitted to a test freeze. These are the authors, including myself, and the introduction. Choosing the right extenders for short-term cooled storage is essential for optimizing post-thaw results when transporting ejaculates to a distant lab for freezing. This study evaluated the effects of two extender storage at 5 degrees, the dose were stored at 5 degrees, on post-thaw progressive motility, and identify the most suitable freezing extender for cryopreservation. One ejaculate of each stallion were used. So, we're gonna figure it out, the effect of these centrifugation media, the influence of the two groups, because we're gonna use two extenders, also the influence of the freezing media used. Let's figure out the methodology used. This is the methodology. One ejaculate of each one of the 10 quarter horse stallions were used. Randomly, 5 of them were diluted with one extender, G1, and 5 of them were diluted with another extender, G2. They were extended, diluted up to 50 million cells per ml, and they were stored at 5 degrees along 8 hours. After that, they were centrifuged at 600 G force 20 minutes, and each one were resuspended and split and resuspended in 9 freezing extenders, 9 for each one. This resuspension The pellet was resuspended up to 200 million cells per ml, and they were loaded in 0.5 straws. All of them were submitted to the same freezing curve, 20 minutes at 5 degrees, 20 minutes at nitrogen vapor, and after that into nitrogen. After freezing, all of them were thawed at 37 degrees along 30 seconds and were evaluated by CASA system after thawing and also after these 8 hours at 5 degrees. So you have T0 and T1. So this is the methodology used. 10 mature quarter horse stallions is split in 2 groups. One ejaculate of each, one ejaculate of each, one extender here, one extender here. 8 hours at 5 degrees. Then split in 9 different freezing extenders, and all of them were submitted to the same freezing curve, thawed in the same way, and evaluated by a computer system. Let's see what we got after that. In this part, you have the progressive motility after 8 hours at 5 degrees, after this short cooled storage. G1, one extender, and G2. Here, 10 stallions, 5 and 5. This is the progressive motility of all of them. This is the average of G1 and the average of G2 after 80 hours, as I said, progressive motility. And what we can see clearly, there is no difference in G1 and G2. No difference. Same progressive motility and G1 and G2. Well, if we stop here, we're gonna imagine. So there is no difference. After 8 hours, nothing changed. Doesn't matter. I can use G1, I can use G2. Doesn't matter the extenders, because after 8 hours at least, it's the same, because I have no difference between them after this transport. However, we will go further. Remember that we are trying to figure it out if you have influence of G1 and G2 after thawing. So let's see the results after freezing and after thawing of all stallions into 9 freezing extenders using the same freezing curve. Let's see it now. Here, group 1 and group 2, 9 freeze extenders, and all the results of all of them. What we have here, first, you can see in gray the protocols, the combination of extender, G1, stallions, and freezing extenders, resulting in progressive motility higher than 30%. In G1, you have these 4 in gray. Let's go to G2. In G2, when you have it in blue, you have all the protocols, all the combinations reaching more than 30%. You have much more in G2. Great about it. Another thing is, in these black or stronger lines, you have the higher progressive motility reached in each stallion into each group. For example, stallion 1 reached the highest motility right here in G1. This one, the highest motility, stallion 3, was this one. And this one was stallion 10. So this is the general numbers that we got after towing, and we will classify them even better in the next step. In the first sight, what we can see immediately seems that G2 got more combinations higher with high motility than G1 in this comparison. But also it's very important to figure it out the average and how many protocols got more than 30, and what about the highest motility for each stallion. Let's go now to see this as well. So comparing in G1 and G2 in three things: the overall after tow progressive motility, what it means comparing all 45 combinations. All 45 at G1 got 16.15% of progressive motility, much lower than in G2. What about the 5 stallions in each group, G1 and G2? Remember, you have 5 in each one of them. The average of the best progressive motility in G1, so you have 5 stallions in each. In G1 it was 27%. In G2, 44%. Also, how many? Remember that you have 45 combinations in G1, G1 and G2. How many of those 45 combinations achieved more than 30% in each group? 8% in G1, 4 out of 45, and in G2, 48%, 22 out of 45. So, for sure, you have different stallions, you have different extenders. We cannot imagine that all of them will have a very high motility after towing, not even that all protocols will result in approved straws with motility of more than 30%. For sure. However, what is the aim here? Is to figure it out if there is or there is not influence of the extender used for that transportation and also for that centrifugation. And we could see in the first moment that in G2 you have more protocols reaching 30%. You had higher motility average when you consider only the best ones or when you consider all of them. It is signalizing that seems that G2 will perform better than G1. But let's see a little bit now about the freezing extenders, what we could got from them. You have here all 9 freezing extenders in different colors. The idea is how many of them, consider that we have 10 stallions in each one, how many of them could reach progressive motility higher than 30% when we are considering now the freezing extender. In this one, this blue, only one protocol reached, one stallion reached in one protocol more than 30%, 1 out of 10. And this yellow, 5 out of 10, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 5, and 6. What we can get from this chart? We have 3 extenders, 3 freezing extenders, that they are not perfect, but they have a higher chance to get 1 or 2 or more protocols of each stallion, resulting in progressive motility higher than 30% after thaw. This is the main message that you can get from these. 3 of them, the number 2, number 8, and number 9, even not reaching the best in all stallions, but in this one, 60% of the stallions reached progressive motility higher than 30. This one, 5, and this one, 5 as well. So, let's go to the last step. Let's compare all stallions and all the groups and figure it out what we can see. Look at that with me. This is the comparison of G1 and G2 in the post-thaw progressive motility. Remember, each group has 5 stallions. Look at this. In freezing extender 1, called blue, this is the comparison. G2 was better. And the second one, G2 was better. 32 against 20. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, in this comparison, it's showing to us that G2 had a better performance. Doesn't matter the freezing extender used, always G2 was better than G1. However, if you believe that this is the main information comparing G2 with G1, this is not the target. Could be any G2, could be any G1, and this result could not be clear as this. The main information is, pay attention, despite the same motility after that transportation, remember that we had no difference when you compare G1 and G2. So it could guide us to think that doesn't matter, you can use either one. No, even without difference in that moment, we got a clear difference after freezing and thawing. So what I want to address here is, again, it's not the comparison of extender 1 and extender 2. No, it's the comparison and the clear influence of that extender in the motility after freezing and thawing. And it must be considered. This study was very clear, very sharp, that G2 is better than G1. But it's not the point. We have many, maybe 100 extenders used for that, for centrifugation. And for some stallions, it can be different. What I want to say is, we have to compare these extenders before starting the freezing protocol. That's the main information that I would like to deliver. And let's go now to the conclusion of this poster. The conclusion shows or says post-thaw progressive motility was higher in samples stored with this extender than this extender across all tested freezing extenders. Despite, as I said, no significant motility difference after storage. A similar effect of the cooling diluent was observed for all post-thaw motility, as the number of samples with progressive motility higher than 30% at distance achieved more than 30% in at least one sample. The most suitable freezing extenders for producing approved straws with the tested freezing curve were Violet, Star, and Butterfly. So, what we can get for that? Let's address again. No difference in two groups, 5 stallions and 5 stallions, they got the similar results. No difference in the first moment after cooling, but a big difference when you compare G1 and G2 after freezing and thawing. So it's clear the influence of that extender in the motility after thawing. Very clear, very sharp. And also, not all extenders, freezing extenders I mean, submitted to the same freezing curve, resulted in the same motility. You have 3 of them that get more chance to have a better motility. But again, it does not mean that the others were not good or could not achieve the best result for some stallions. If you go back in the table, you're gonna see that one extender, MX3, got the highest motility for the stallion 10. And it's clear. This one is not the best extender, and was not the best extender in this study. But for that stallion, in that combination, it was the perfect one. Keep in your mind all of this before starting your freezing protocol. Thank you so much. See you next time.